Can I ask you a question? Are you ready to get and keep momentum in your business? I hope so, because it's Penny Elliott here, your host to having the perfect mix of the woo with the do. If you're ready to create the life that you want through a business designed by you, then tune in. So welcome to another episode of the Get Momentum for Online Entrepreneurs podcast with your host, me, Penny Elliott. And this is the show where we match the woo with the do. So it's your perfect mix of mindset and strategy to have fast success in your online business so you can actually live the life you thought you were when you left your job and started a business. And today I have the amazing Chris Ducker with us, who has many facets under his umbrella, I guess you could say. And the one thing that I came across his work was really chunking down your daily tasks into something that would be a $10 task, a $100 task, or a $1,000 task. And I know you can read loads and loads of books and you can read do loads and loads of courses, but sometimes one little gold nugget really sticks and totally changes the trajectory of your business. And so I had to have you, Chris, on the show, because that one exercise really showed me where I was spending my time and where I shouldn't be spending my time. And how that's so important when you are the brand of your business. And so hiding behind answering admin emails is not the best use of your time when there's only one of you. So I want to say thank you and welcome to the show. And I'm sure you've got a much more formal, elaborated introduction to yourself. So let us know who you are and who you serve and what you do.
If I'm something, I'm definitely not formal. That's for sure. I can assure you of that. I'm glad that task actually resonated with you so much, because I feel like I'm a real hardcore believer that as entrepreneurs, time is sincerely our most valuable commodity. Yet, as a business coach, I'm astounded pretty much on a daily basis, still to this day, just how much time we waste doing stuff every single day, right? So I'm sort of on a bit of a one-man mission to sort of try and bring a little calm to that entrepreneurial storm. And so the fact that you pull out that particular task, which I don't even know when that was published, we're talking a long time ago. So knowing that it still resonates with somebody once they find it is really good. But look, no bio, no intro. I am what you see is what you get with me. I'm an old school sales and marketing guy. I was in the publishing business back in London for many, many, many years. Went over to the Philippines in the year 2000 on consultancy contract. Did that for a couple of years, set up my own consultancy, sales consultancy, taught some of the largest companies in the country how to sell with finesse and ethics and to do it all right. They weren't doing that very well before, and then we opened up. I say we, myself and my wife, who is my partner in business as well as in life, and she and I opened up a call center facility in the Philippines to work with B2B international clients, majority of which were in the United States. That business is still running to this day. We've now got 360 something employees in that business, 3 floors in a 4-story building. And we also have Virtual Staff Finder, which is another business, which is our VA recruiting company. And then we have youpreneur.com, which is everything and anything to do with personal branding, building the business of you, monetizing that, becoming future-proof as a solopreneur, so to speak.
Amazing. And I have used your virtual assistant finder, which has been fantastic experience. I couldn't believe how well looked after I was, the caliber of candidates, the ability to say, no, I don't like any of those and get 3 more. It was really top-notch service. So I love that.
I'm glad to hear that. And thank you very much for your business. I always say thank you when anybody ever says, that they use the service, because it's important. We're not the only, but we were the only business doing what we do when we opened the doors in 2010. Yeah. But pretty quickly, there were a ton of copycats. I mean, we're talking full blown, let's just rip off the entire website, not just the business model, which we, there were 2 or 3 instances where we needed to get our lawyers involved in the Philippines because people just wanted to try and springboard and fast track that growth that we had already sort of been successful with. But the fact is, they're all gone. We're still here. And I do believe, and I still believe, in the most important asset in your business is the people that are working in the business, which is why I place a very, very big premium on looking after your people first and foremost. Then your existing clients, and then new clients. People have actually ass backwards, quite frankly. they want to look after, they want to get as many new customers as possible. Then they'll worry about existing customers, and then they worry about their team. Well, I like to do it the other way around. That's just my style.
Yeah, that's kind of the Frank Kern way of filling a membership. Just worry about what's coming in and not what's dropping off. Yeah. So talking about your personal brand, and like, I really, I guess when you said, it surprises you daily about how much like time we just like, see you later. Yep. And that really, really resonated with me when I had my first and only child. He just turned 2 yesterday. And all of a sudden it was a non-negotiable on time, right? Like, while he's screaming or, he doesn't let me get on my computer or anything. The other day I thought, sneakily finish off an email. 3 minutes and 33 seconds, because I have I use toggle timer for each client. I got interrupted, and that was it. So there was none of that. So I really, really understand now how important time is, because it was forced upon me. But I'd really love it if you could share with us that we're always talking on this podcast about getting momentum and consistent clients. But I think that it would be really interesting for you to talk about time management and being that personal brand, and obviously how you need to leverage yourself and your own time to get those consistent clients. Like, how can we weave that in? Like, what's your secret sauce?
Well, I mean, I think it really just comes, at the end of the day, it'll always come down to priorities, right? So right now, your son is your priority. I'm a father of 4. So clearly
Holy
my children,
moly.
Oh yeah. I'm a machine, okay, is why. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. Nobody wants to go down there with us, trust me as well. So I've got 4 kids, right? So I understand the importance of priorities. I understand the importance of leveraging whatever time we have left over after our parental duties have already been taken care of. But the fact of the matter is time is finite, right? It's not variable in any way whatsoever. Everybody on the planet has exactly the same amount of time in each day. So when you look at other people, and that's dangerous, by the way, let's not get into that whole imposter syndrome thing. We don't want to do that. But a lot of people look at other people, right? Particularly on the internet, scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and they see all these other people that seemingly look to get so much done every single day, and they're flying around the world, and they're speaking, and they're writing books, and they're coaching clients, and they're doing all this stuff. But the fact is, the very, very large majority of those people who are doing it at that really high level, they've got a team behind them. They're not doing all of it themselves, right? Yeah. Now, for the majority of people, particularly in the first 2 or 3 years of that infancy of building out that business, particularly a business based around you, right? I call it the business of you. And that was the title of a keynote I gave for the first time in 2012, which, by the way, I made that title up literally 15 minutes before I got on stage, because I'd already done the presentation, but I kept coming up with like issues, but what's the title going to be? What's the title going to be? And literally 15 minutes before I got on stage, I came up with this. And it's been my most booked keynote ever. I think I've done it 60 odd times around the world now. It's crazy ever since. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So when we talk about building the business of you, a lot of people say, well, this weekend or this week or this month, this sabbatical, this break, whatever it is, I'm going to work on my weaknesses. I'm going to strengthen up what I'm weak at. That's a bad move. Because right there, you're already wasting your time right there. Because if you're bad at something, give it somebody else to do.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really bad at vacuuming.
Delegate.
That's why I have a cleaner every week.
There you go. Right. I mean, don't even ask me to iron a shirt. I wouldn't know where to start, literally, right? So delegate the stuff that you're not good at and lean into the stuff that only you can do. And when you're building the business of you, people are actually going to end up doing business with you because of you, not because of your product or your service or your offering or your fancy email funnel or how great you look on social media. All of that is, believe it or not, 100% irrelevant. People want to do business with other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say the job here for us as a personal brand entrepreneur is to become somebody's favorite.
Yeah.
If we can become somebody's favorite business coach or somebody's favorite author or somebody's favorite, whatever it might be, podcaster, videographer, YouTuber, live streamer, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you become somebody's favorite, whether you convert them as a client straight away or 18 months down the road, it will happen eventually, as long as you consistently show up for them in a helpful, original, value-based manner. And so this is where the time management part of it comes into play, because people think, well, I've got to knock out all this content. I've got to be blogging. I've got to be podcasting. I've got to be doing videos on YouTube. I've got to be doing, live streaming, blah, 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 blah. You don't. You're telling yourself that, but you don't need to be doing all of those things. Sure, you have to be doing at least one of them really well, very, very, very consistently. Yeah. So whatever medium is what turns you on, go with that one, because the chances of you being consistent and being value driven on that platform are going to go up through the roof. Whereas if you're not comfortable sitting in front of a video camera and putting stuff on YouTube, that's going to come across on any videos that you do put up on YouTube. So don't worry about YouTube. Sit behind a microphone and do an audio only podcast if that's your jam. Yeah. Right? That's simple. Yeah. So once you figure out, what medium you're going to roll with, everything else becomes so much easier because you're not stressing out about having to do all of the other things. And just because you see Gary Vaynerchuk or anyone else for that matter knocking out all the, by the way, Gary's got like 30 people working on his personal brand.
he has 6 TV guys following him around the whole time, just making clips.
It's insane, right? Yeah. So
it's uncomparable.
Right. So when you see that happen, though, that imposter syndrome kicks in, and you cannot and you should not ever, you must not ever compare someone else's 150th or 200th step to your 3rd or your 4th or your 5th. That's very, very important. Everyone's on their own journey, right? And actually, it's not even about the journey. I don't think it's about the journey. It's more about the destination in terms of where you want to get, who you want to help, what good you want to impact in the people's lives. So the time management actually isn't as big of an issue as most people think it is, as long as you set your priorities straight and you understand, well, I'm only going to do what only I can do. I'm going to delegate everything else out. And I'm not going to worry about doing everything anywhere. I'm just going to do one thing really good in one place.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always said people buy people, not products or services. And if you think about, say you're going to go and buy a car, say you look at the same brand of car, say you're going to go and buy a Range Rover. They're all the same Range Rovers. Sure, some's done a bit more mileage, and one might be diesel, one might be petrol, and one might be black and one might be white. But the reason why you will purchase that vehicle over any others is because of the service and the person that has sold it to you and how they speak to you, what they offered you, and it all depends on the individual. Yet you're still buying the same car. You literally are buying the same car, right? And it just depends on how that person is to you. We all know when you've gone into a clothing store and someone jumps out behind a rack and is like, "Hi, can I help you?" And you're like, "Oh, no, thanks." No, it's fine. Versus the person who's like, "Oh yeah," and casually brings you in, and then all of a sudden you've bought like 3 outfits.
Yeah.
People buy people.
Absolutely.
So you're so right.
Well, and the other thing is that, if you look at, not to sort of go down the sales rabbit hole here, but if you look, see, this is what I did. I trained people in sales for many years. If you look at the sales process, it hasn't changed for, eons. It hasn't changed for a long, 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 long time. You prospect, you qualify that prospect, you build rapport, you gain trust, you pitch, you overcome objections, you pitch some more, you overcome objections, and then you close. Now, the reason why the close is at the very end of that sales process is because you've got to do everything else first if you want to close the sale. But here's what a lot of people get wrapped up in. They get wrapped up in the close and they don't do everything else properly. That's why you've got all these books on the market, 15 closing techniques that really work and all this kind of stuff. Like, don't worry about the close, because if you prospect and you qualify properly, those two things right there, you're more likely to close a sale because you're talking to the right person in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? So it's prospect, qualify, build rapport, gain trust. If you don't have trust, you're never going to be able to sell anything to anyone.
You won't be their favorite, will you?
And then you've earned the right to pitch your products and or your services. And you pitch based on benefits and features. You don't pitch based on price or anything like that, because you're fighting a losing battle at that point. So it's benefits and features. This is why you need it. This is what you can expect out of working with me as a coach. This is where I will get you as a coach. This is what you can expect when you work with me as a coach, so on and so on and so on. And guess what happens 9 times out of 10? The close happens all by itself.
Yeah, they do it.
They're already sold, plain and simple. You don't even have to ask for the sale a lot of the time. If you do it right, they'll actually just tell you that they want it.
Yeah, and that's the best way ever to close.
Yep.
So, I mean, you've had like you spoke about like your different businesses that you set up. Obviously, your keynote speech you've given over 60 times, but I really want people to understand that being an online entrepreneur is never a straight line to the top. There's always setbacks, and so many times people don't like to talk about the business setbacks in the public forum, but I really want to bring it to life. And actually, if you had a situation where something's not quite gone to plan, and then you've had to really dig deep to get momentum back in your business, like how did you tell yourself?
So many. I mean, how long have you got? So
Everyone
many.
says that. They're like, which one should I pick? I would pick one from last week.
It's like the overnight success is 15 years coming, right?
But so many people don't
I think what it is a lot, and we can go into a couple of my failures, no problems. I think what it is, everybody, particularly because we're so online savvy today, right? One of the first things we do in the morning is roll over and grab the phone and see what's going on, right? So I think everybody wants to have the illusion, and it is an illusion 99% of the time, of that duck gracefully floating along the top of the lake. They see the head and they see the little thing and everything's looking good, and they're dipping their head in the water and they're eating the little bits of bread and all that kind of stuff. But what they don't see underneath are the legs going like absolute bonkers, right? So that we want the illusion of that graceful duck floating along the lake, but people don't show the legs as much as they should. And they should show the bonkers legs. They absolutely should, because it'll help you become somebody's favorite if people see the struggles as well. So 3 months into my call center business, I had enough money in the bank for 2 more payroll periods with 30 employees. That's it. We're almost bankrupt 3 months in. Right? So I did what I needed to do, and I basically cold called hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of prospects, qualifying them myself, all night long, because of the time differences between the Philippines and the United States. When we were, I hate the term, the graveyard shift, that was basically business hours in the United States. So I called from about midnight through to about 7 a.m. Philippines times for 3 weeks in a row to save my company from going under 3 months in. And I did it. We turned it around. And within 6 months, just 3 more months later, we had 120 employees. One client walked through and gave us a 40-seat campaign, just like that. And I was like, this would not have happened, because we wouldn't have been here if I hadn't done all those sleepless nights, right? So there you go. We almost went bankrupt 3 months in. Now we're a multi-7-figure business out on an annual basis, right? So that's one sort of bad thing that turned into a good thing. However, there has been a complete and utter failure in between all of this as well. So in 2012, I opened up another business. So we had the Live to Sell group, which was our call center. We had Virtual Staff Finder, which was our VA recruitment hub. That was in 2010. 2012, I drank my own Kool-Aid, quite frankly. I had been building an online platform for a couple of years. I had maybe 5,000 or 6,000 email subscribers at the time. Loads of people follow me on Twitter, reading my blog, listening to my podcast, et cetera, et cetera. I thought I was the bee's knees when it came to the outsourcing world. And so we opened up a company called Your Web PA. And fundamentally what it was all the other tasks that you would go to one of those job posting sites to kind of get rid of, I don't know, writing articles or transcribing video or graphic design or doing an email, an ebook or whatever it is, right? Video editing, whatever. We thought, well, we'll bring it all in-house and we'll kind of charge 25, 30% on top. That will be our margin and we'll make a load of money and people will be happy because they're working with Chris Ducker's team. Well, it was a total failure. 60 grand in 4 months of my life down the plug hole because quite frankly, nobody did want to pay 25, 30% above market value to work with Chris Ducker's team. So we closed the doors on that. And obviously, 60K grand scheme, not a lot of money. But in 2012, when we were still in our infancy, ultimately, I always feel like a business is in its infancy for the first 5 years. That's my kind of mindset, right? So we were only a few years in at the time. And for me, that was a lot of money right then. I mean, that was serious. That was a serious loss. And more importantly, was the 4 months of that year that I had invested in setting up and training, recruiting and training and launching this thing. And yeah, we made a little bit of money, but we still lost 60K at the end of it. So yeah, I'm happy to say that was my last disaster in business though. We've done okay though. We've done okay since then.
Yeah. So what do they say? You keep getting served the lesson until you learn from it. So you obviously learned from it, so you can move on. So that's good.
Yeah. And it really, it comes down to, this was the big reason why that business failed. And the reason why it failed was because I didn't validate it as a genuine offer. Looking back on it, I made the very, very large assumption that people would want what I was putting together. And that was where I tripped up. That was where I failed, quite frankly. And ever since then, anything that we've done, whether it be live events or coaching programs or courses or whatever it is we've done since then, we have validated the idea of putting this together, whatever this is, with our customers, with our community, before actually working on it properly. And you can do that via a quick online survey that you send out to your email list. You can do it on a live broadcast by show of hands or comments or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to be able to validate an idea, but that was where we tripped up. And ever since then, we validated everything. And that's one of the reasons why we've not had any big failures.
Amazing. So I guess, the next question I always ask is if you could go back to the beginning of starting your business, like knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young entrepreneurial self? Would it be that to validate your ideas? I'd probably tell myself 2 things. Number 1, you're not that good. Quite frankly. No young man would accept that.
We get wrapped up. We have a little bit of success and we think that, we're the big swinging nuts. And that's not the case at all. Like genuinely, if you don't stay hungry, you're going to starve, plain and simple. And so I'm a big believer that, you've got to be real with yourself. Like regardless of how good you think you are, there's someone else out there that's better than you. The only difference between your customer base going to them and you is you. So that's why it's so very, very important. This would be the second thing I would tell myself is lean into your uniqueness. And actually not just that, but do it unapologetically. Like be uniquely you unapologetically all day long. Like with me, what you see is what you get. I left college, much to my father's dismay, didn't talk to me for 3 months, didn't graduate, college or university, went straight into the workforce. I like to think that I'm a pretty well-rounded, well-educated guy in regards to the way the world works, and particularly business, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm still a little rough around the edges as well. I'm a Londoner at the end of the day, and that's never going to leave my blood, right?
Yeah.
So, be you, like, throw it out there. Like, I'm a big fan of good quality single malt Scotch, Bruce Lee, Pokemon, and Lego, right? Like, bring that on, because that's the real Chris. Like, bring it on. I literally get, I kid you not, I get Pokemon. Look right here. I get Pokemon cards sent to me.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, this is a Pokemon card.
Is it still around?
Oh my God, this is huge. This card alone is worth about $200. The card I'm holding up right now is worth $200.
You have to all go and have a look at the video, people, if you're listening.
This was sent to me by a community member as a gift, as a thank you. I get Scotch. I don't even think I've bought a bottle of Scotch for 5 years. I get more Scotch. I'm sure my postman thinks I'm a raging alcoholic. I get so many bottled shaped packages sent to my home. But this is what I come back to, like, being unapologetically you. What happens is, and I call it marketing like a magnet. What happens is, at the same time as you're attracting, like a magnet does, all of the right prospects into your ecosystem, all the people you should be doing business with, all the people that you can genuinely help and serve, at the same time as all that happening, people like Pokemon fans and single malt fans and et cetera, at the exact same time, something literally miraculous happens. Just like a magnet does. It repels the people that aren't the good fit for you and your style away at the exact same time as attracting the right people. So that's why I say market like a magnet. Attract the best, repel the rest. Right? It's very American, very kind of tweetable moment right there. But at the end of the day, it's very true, because we don't want the people in our ecosystem that on day 29 of your 30-day money-back guarantee ask for their money back.
Oh, no, we don't.
We don't want those people. No. We want the people that are going to love on us because we love on them. And there lies the success, I think, of any really successful, particularly online entrepreneur, is understanding the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. So don't be scared to be you. Don't be scared to drop F-bombs if that's your jam. Don't be scared to talk about Pokemon on your podcast if that's your jam, because there'll be other people out there that are happy to drop F-bombs with you in a conversation, or happy to send you Pokemon cards in the mail, or talk about Scotch, or how painful it is to step on Lego bricks at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. All that good stuff, right?
Have you seen the Lego slippers? I need to send them to you.
Lego slippers.
Yes. So this is the best invention ever. Is a pair of slippers that have a Lego sole to them.
Right.
So that when you're walking on them, you just got it. It picks them up.
Gosh, how good is it? You don't even have to bend down anymore. My back's killing me, actually.
I know.
So
and
this is good.
You have them like crunch underneath your foot because they just clip in and it picks them all up. How good is that?
Good. I'm going to Google this immediately. This is perfect.
There you go. So what legacy are you trying to create and leave in this online space? And then how can people...
I don't really tend to use that word too much. I think, like, and it's okay if that's your jam and what you're all about, that's okay. I mean, I think, I always say, like, my legacy is going to be my kids. Like, I just want my kids to do better than I've done. And here's a harsh reality. Like, my oldest is a 25-year-old boy. And I had a conversation with him on FaceTime the other day, and I was saying to him, like, I've probably got about 20 notebooks. I use these notebooks here. These are from Smithson in Bond Street in London.
Oh, yeah, those too. They're lovely.
Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful.
Little packet in a little blue pouch.
They're beautiful notepads, notebooks rather. And I've been using them for probably close to a decade now. And I've got maybe 20 or so of them, which are just full of thoughts and notes and ideas and all the rest of it. And I was chatting with my son the other day, and I said to him, like, when I pass away, these notebooks are going to be what I leave behind for you to be able to kind of like try and understand the psyche a little bit. Like, we'll have conversations, but like, this is going to be, and he said, Dad, you've left you've left such a massive legacy for us to try and
Oh.
understand and like capture. Like notebooks don't do anything. Like it's the work that, like your books that you're writing and the people that you're helping, yada, yada, yada. And my son is also a videographer, and he's been involved in my business on and off for years and years. So he's seen it, the behind the scenes and everything as well. My daughter, Chloe, she's 22. She actually manages all of my social media for all of our businesses, as well as my personal brand as well. So they're in the business, right? They see it. So legacy, I don't know about that per se. I just want I want to be able to do whatever I need to do in order to leave behind whatever you want to call it, for my kids to be able to pick up and say, I'm going to do better than dad. Because here's the thing, I'm doing okay. So if I'm doing right, then they're going to be just fine if they have that mentality. And that's the mentality I want them to have. Even my 11-year-old, almost 12, about a week or so ago, we've sat at the table, and because myself and my wife are in business, obviously as partners, we talk about business at the dinner table every now and then. And my almost 12-year-old boy turned around the other day and he said, Daddy, what's a profit and loss statement? Because he heard us talking about it. I'm like, this is so good.
It's so good.
I'm so glad you asked, son.
Wow. I thought we were going to have the birds and bees talk, but a profit and loss, a P&L sheet is much better.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how can people get in touch with you and follow you and get involved?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be much of a personal brand business coach if I didn't have chrisducker.com, which is where I do most of my work. That site actually is going through a bit of a rebuild right now. We haven't updated it for about 5 years. So I don't know when this will be live, but a new design is imminently waiting to go live. So yeah, chrisducker.com is really where you can find out everything, and follow me on Instagram. That's my kind of #1 social platform, at Chris Ducker. That's it.
Great. And we'll put links to that in the show notes. But I mean, obviously that's really easy to spell and follow. So you should be able to all jump in there and have a look. And if it's the new website, make sure that you share your ideas and thoughts about it as well. Because it's always nice when you're redoing your website to actually get some feedback. It's such a massive
It's
job.
so overdue. It's so overdue. I look so young on...
I know. Do you know there's nothing worse than having old photos?
The main photo and depending on when this goes live and when your people check out the site, but the main photo on our current site was taken in a very ad hoc photo shoot, like super ad hoc, like walking through a casino in Vegas. I had just done a speech actually at an event over there, and I was walking through with my wife and a friend of mine, and there was a photographer who I'm assuming heavily had just finished a shoot in this little bar area. And this is a lesson here, is like, when you see an opportunity, jump on it as well. Knowing I hadn't had any headshots done for a while, and we were just talking about it like a day or something before, how when I got back I was gonna have to do some new headshots, etc., etc. I saw this guy and I was like, hey, are you packing up or are you unpacking? And he was like, I'm packing up. And I said, do you want to make a couple of $100 real quick? And he said, sure. What have you got in mind? I was like, I need like a dozen good photos of me. I've got a nice jacket and a shirt on. Like, he said, yeah, man, let's do it. So we literally got a couple of lights out, one camera, snap. I gave him his $200. And that photo is literally still on my website. One of the photos from that shoot. But we got to update it, so it's coming. I look so young. I think I've even got a little bit of hair. Might be some hair there, not much, but a little bit.
I've had one lady come on a call with me, a strategy call, and she was like, "Oh, where's your curly blonde hair?" I was like, "You do know that it took like 4 hours to look like that for the photos. I'm not doing that every day." So that's all about being your brand. So have you got something for the listeners to be able to dive into with you, to go a bit further, that we can put as a link on the show notes?
So yeah, I mean, if you go to chrisducker.com, right at the very top of the site, you'll see a link to my personal branding roadmap ebook that people can download free. You just pop in your name and your email address, and you'll get it sent directly to you. It's basically a really good overview. It's an easy read. It's a 20-minute read with a cup of tea or whatever, something stronger if that's your thing, and it just gives you a good overview of what it takes to build a profitable business based around your expertise. It's not going to give you, it's not going to give you all the answers, but it will give you enough to get that springboard and to start taking it more seriously. And yeah, that's where they can go. Just literally chrisducker.com. You'll see it right there on the homepage.
Amazing. Head on over and grab that and have a cup of tea, have a read through it, and get the wheels turning in your head about like, what gaps am I missing, or am I spreading myself way too thin and I need to rein it right back in again and just pick one platform and do, as you said, do it consistently and do it well. So as a last soundbite, I always like to ask my guests, what is your favorite one-liner you give yourself daily to get momentum in your business?
Favorite one-liner? There's a lot. I think I would probably go to Zig Ziglar, who is an American public speaker. He's no longer with us now, but he was very big in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Zig, one of his probably most famous quotes is, you can have everything you want in life as long as you help as many other people get what they want. And I think actually as a coach, and even though I'm an entrepreneur and I have businesses, and what I do day to day now is what I really enjoy. Yeah. And that is coaching other entrepreneurs to success. And I think that as a coach, particularly as a business coach, that rings very, very, very true. I want to just continue doing what I'm doing because I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. But for me to be able to continue doing that, I need to continue obviously helping other people get what they want, right? And so I think that's probably the one liner I remember or might utter to myself from time to time more than any other.
Amazing. And do you know what? You're not the first guest on this podcast to actually have that as the one-liner. So
there you go.
There you go.
There must be something in it then, right? There must be something in it.
Exactly. So, well, thank you very much for sharing your morning, my evening, so that we could connect and really give some huge insight to the listeners and the viewers of this podcast, especially around, time is finite. I loved how you touch, how you really put that into perspective, and how, being consistent and picking the one thing and doing it really, really well so you can become their favorite. I love that. Become that person, your ideal client's favorite. I really want you to all go away once you listen to this podcast and have a real good think about that. And how you can do that is by going to chrisducker.com and grabbing that roadmap, and you'll be on your way. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. And don't forget to pop on over and leave a review on any platform that you would like, because I don't really mind. As long as it's a review, we love them. Thanks. Before you go after this episode, make sure that you jump on over to 60 Days to 3K. We are open. The doors are open right now for my amazing program. And I can say that because we've got a 98% success rate. Of all the women that have gone through the program, 98% of them have hit 3K or more during the 60 days. They now have this system on rinse and repeat in their businesses. And most of them are in multiple 5-figure months now. So if you want to jump on in to 60 Days to 3K, the card is open right now and it will be closed real soon. So don't miss out on all the bonuses. Jump on over to 60 Days to 3K. The link is in the show notes, and we will see you on the inside of the Facebook group, ready to get your name on the Hall of Fame and into consistent clients. Such a blissful thing when you know with predictability how much money you're going to make each month, and you can just be in your business and not fretting about it. So jump on into 60 Days to 3K. Quick, the card's going to close soon.